The NFL Super Bowl is the biggest game of the football season. The championship game that all 32 NFL teams battle throughout the regular 17-game season to make sure that they're the ones making the trip. Hosting this huge sporting event, like any other, is no small feat, and a lot goes into consideration when picking a location. There are some cities and states that might not ever get the opportunity to host the Super Bowl, simply because they lack the resources to deal with the huge crowds that come flowing in. Some cities get the honour of hosting the Super Bowl multiple times for the opposite reason. Here are the stadium locations for the next 4 Super Bowls. 2024 Super Bowl Stadium. The 2024 Super Bowl is less than a month away. The big game will go down on Sunday, February 11. And with playoffs just starting, we are in for a treat. The host city is more than prepared to entertain the huge crowd of football fans that will flood the city when the time comes. This year's Super Bowl will be held in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Allegiant Stadium with a capacity of 65,000, and home to the Las Vegas Raiders and the UNLV Rebels football. This is still a fairly new stadium, with it opening just 3 years ago in 2020. The second most expensive stadium in the world, with a price tag of $1.9 billion. This will be the first time the Super Bowl is hosted in the state of Nevada. And funny enough, this Super Bowl was originally supposed to be hosted in New Orleans, Louisiana. Back in 2018, the league announced that the 2024 Super Bowl would be held in New Orleans, but the decision was called back in on October 14, 2020, when the NFL announced that the big game was moving to Las Vegas, Nevada instead. And this might be because of the strife between New Orleans and the NFL. When the league and NFLPA expanded the regular NFL season from 16 games to 17, forcing the Super Bowl to be pushed back to February 11, the new day interferes with New Orleans Mardi Gras celebrations. But it's safe to say that Nevada isn't complaining about the location change. There seems to be no specific reason as to why Las Vegas was the chosen location, but the stadium is more than eligible, having hosted a number of other events. Allegiant Stadium has hosted the Pac-12 College Football Championship in 2021 and numerous other football bowl games. The stadium was home to the past 2 NFL Pro Bowls as well. The Allegiant Stadium has also been the stage for big concerts for artists like BTS, Taylor Swift and Bad Bunny, Imagine Dragons and Beyonce. The WWE held their 2021 SummerSlam at the Allegiant Stadium as well. So it goes without saying the city and stadium is more than prepared to host the Super Bowl. 2025 Super Bowl Stadium. If you thought that there was any love lost between the NFL and the city of New Orleans over their decision to expand the NFL regular season, pushing the big Super Bowl game into the second Sunday of February and conflicting with Mardi Gras for the big city, or maybe over the fact the NFL moved the 2024 Super Bowl from New Orleans to Nevada, let all those concerns be eased, because it looks like the relationship between them is just fine. The 2025 Super Bowl will be hosted in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the Caesars Superdome. So New Orleans is still getting the opportunity to host the big game, and Mardi Gras won't take place until March 2025, so it all worked out for the better. The Caesars Superdome is a multi-purpose stadium with a capacity of 73,208 and home to the New Orleans Saints. The stadium is also home to the annual college football Sugar Bowl. This isn't the first time a Super Bowl will be played at the Superdome. Back on February 3, 2013, the Super Bowl was played at Caesars Superdome. The matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers suffered a minor delay when there was a power failure at the Superdome, causing some of the cameras to go out, and voiceovers by Jim Nantz and Phil Simms. The delay lasted for about 34 minutes, and for a while, fans blamed the power outage on the Super Bowl's performer that year, Beyonce, while others believed it was one of the other NFL teams sabotaging the game to get more time to go over plays. After the investigation was over, it was announced it was the fault of a relay device whose sole purpose was to prevent electrical overload. The Superdome's power system never failed itself. The NFL is probably hoping history doesn't repeat itself next year. The Caesars Superdome should be more than ready to host the Super Bowl, considering the number of renovations the stadium is still undergoing. The Superdome has been around since 1975 and has hosted a number of other events, but it has an extensive history with Super Bowls. This will be the 8th time the Superdome is hosting a big football game. The Superdome has also been home to the College Football Championship game once. The stadium was the home of the famous and renowned boxer Muhammad Ali's last fight back in 1978. 2026 Super Bowl Stadium. The Super Bowl is headed back west from Super Bowl 60, which will be hosted in Santa Clara, California. The big game will be played at Levi Stadium with a capacity of 68,500 and home to the San Francisco 49ers. This will be the stadium's second time hosting a Super Bowl, with the last one being February 7, 2016. A showdown between the Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers, with the Broncos coming out on top 24-10, securing Peyton Manning one more ring before retirement. Levi Stadium was almost home to the 49ers and the Raiders at one point. A lot of people thought it would see the stadium being shared by the two teams, like the setup with the New York Jets and New York Giants. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell was on board with the idea, but fans and the Raiders owner Al Davis were against the idea. The 49ers were open to sharing the stadium with Oakland Raiders, but in the end the Raiders would end up at Oakland Coliseum until they moved to Las Vegas. Levi Stadium is well equipped to host Super Bowl 60, with a number of other events being held there. The stadium has been the home of WrestleMania 31 back in 2015, drawing in an attendance record 76,976 people and $12.6 million at the gate. Big artists and bands have performed at the stadium, including One Direction, Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, Coldplay, Luke Bryan, Ed Sheeran, and the Rolling Stones. 2027 NFL Super Bowl Stadium. It looks like that the Super Bowl will be remaining in the West and the same state for the following Super Bowl after 2026. Super Bowl 61 will be held at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, which is in the Los Angeles area. It would only be 5 years before SoFi Stadium welcomed Super Bowl 61 back in 2022, a matchup between none other than the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals, with the Rams coming out on top 23-20. It was the Rams' first Super Bowl win as a Los Angeles-based team and second in NFL history. SoFi Stadium is home to the Los Angeles Rams and Los Angeles Chargers with a capacity of 70,240. While the NFL hardly ever gives out specific reasons as to why a location is picked over others, 2027 Super Bowl location shouldn't come as a surprise, even though it would be back-to-back years. The state of California was chosen to be the home of the big football game, considering the state has a deep history with the NFL. The first Super Bowl in NFL history all the way back in 1967 was played at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. This will be the 9th Super Bowl held in the state. SoFi Stadium became the most expensive sports venue ever in the world in May 2020, after the NFL and owners approved of a $500 million loan, bringing the cost of the stadium up to $5.5 billion. SoFi Stadium has been the main host for the College Football LA Bowl, a matchup between the Mountain West and Pac-12 conferences. The stadium will host WrestleMania 39 on April 1st and 2nd, 2023. The stadium is also set to host multiple matches for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the 2028 Summer Olympics and Paralympics, and finally the Rugby World Cups in 2031 and 2033 will all be hosted at SoFi Stadium.